Hi, good afternoon, everyone. This is Rajiv S. Khanna from immigration.com, the law offices of Rajiv S. Khanna, PC. We'll be starting our call now. This is our community conference call every other Thursday. No, I'm sorry, every Thursday. Every other Thursday, it's on this number, which you have dialed, and the other Thursday, it would be on LinkedIn. When you logged in, you heard certain disclaimers and caveats. You know where you stand. With that, let me tell you what the format of the call is. I'll first answer the questions that have been posted on our forums. Amongst those, I'll be answering the frequently asked questions first. After that, each time I answer a question, I'll ask anybody has any follow-up questions. I'll try to address those. Once we are done with those questions, then if there is time remaining in an hour, I would like to answer the remaining questions. But normally what I do is, if we have too many people, I just lock the conference to other people so that people can't just log in. That way I have the maximum chances of answering questions from everybody who's already here. So far we've been able to answer everyone's questions, and that's what we'll try to do. With that, let me get started on the questions that have been posted, and among them, frequently asked questions first. First frequently asked question was eligibility for 1-year H-1B extension under 365-day rule based upon PERM filed on November 1st, 2023. So what does this mean? Eligibility for H-1B extension beyond 6 years. So what happens is, once your H-1B 6 years are exhausted, you've used them all, and you have no time to recapture. Time to recapture is the time that you've spent outside USA while on H-1B. So if you were gone over 6 years for 3-4 months, you can recapture that time. But let's say recapture time is gone, 6 years are gone. Can you get extensions beyond 6 years? Sure. And there are two ways to get those. One is getting your I-140 approved. So for example, if you file a national interest waiver, I-140, it gets approved. Now you can get H-1B extension beyond 6 years. There's another possibility. Your PERM has been filed and it's been pending 1 year. You can then get 1-year H-1B extension based upon the pending PERM. So you can get extensions based upon PERM or based upon I-140 approval. So what if I filed my PERM on November 1st, 2023? So one thing is for sure, beginning, well, let's just call it November 1st, 2024, although it could be arguably one day before that. But let's say November 1st, 2024, I can obviously get 6 months extension because my PERM is still pending, right? What if there's a gap? My H-1B is expiring in September and I become eligible for extension in November. Can I still apply for an H-1B extension? And the answer is sure, but it will only be effective November 1st, 2024. So you can apply for an extension even before the year is up, but it won't start until 1 year mark has been reached. So you filed your PERM on November 1st, 2023. You can apply even in May 2024, but your extension will not be effective until November 2024. I hope that makes sense. So my PERM was filed in November, current visa expires October. Am I eligible to apply for 1-year extension? Is July a good month, etc., etc.? Or do I need to travel back to my country? So the answer I just gave you. You can apply ahead of time, but it won't be effective until November 1st. If any of you has a follow-up question, press *5. No new questions, only follow-up questions. Press *5 on your phone. Okay. No follow-up questions. That's good. Let's go on to the next frequently asked question. Assessing eligibility and strengthening profile for EB2 NIW, National Interest Waiver, without a research background. So first of all, remember, there is no requirement that you must have a research background. People from many diverse areas can qualify for NIW. For example, if you are a top Kathak dancer and you want to teach Kathak in the United States, you might be eligible for an NIW. Or you are an entrepreneur and you want to create jobs in the United States, you might be eligible for an NIW. So you don't have to be a techie or somebody who is involved with academic research to qualify for an NIW. Let's get that clear. So I am from Bangladesh. I'm pursuing a non-thesis master's in civil engineering, geotechnical engineering. I have no research background. Is citation research compulsory for NIW? No. How should I prepare my profile to increase my chances? I want to mention that from my experience, there's a huge demand for geotechnical engineers. Okay. And there was another person who had posted, who said that I am in Canada working as a junior geotechnical engineer lab technologist. Can I get a national interest waiver? Okay, so what the heck is this thing called national interest waiver? Let's kind of understand this. It's an important understanding for everyone, even if you are not applying right now. National interest waiver says, I am going to do something in the future, not right now. It doesn't have to be something you are doing right now. I'm going to do something in the future. Excuse me, I need some water. Okay, I'm going to do something in the future which will impact the United States. Now this is important. If I impact a local area, chances are that's not national. If I impact one company, chances are that is not national, right? So there has to be non-local impact. It is a job or a project in the future. Let me lock the conference. I just want to make sure I cover everybody. It didn't announce. I guess we are locked. Okay. Let me also make sure you guys can hear me first of all. Can you all hear me okay? Hello? Can you all hear me? What happened? Okay, I'm going to log out and log in again. Give me a moment. Okay, so I was talking about national interest waiver. What is it? And I said it's based upon a project that you have in mind, which will impact the US national interest. So not local, but national interest. So for example, if I'm working for, let's say, IBM, can I say that the work I'm doing has national impact? And the answer is, well, it depends. If you are going to do something good for IBM, it's good for IBM. It may not be good for the country. But what if you are working on projects that are helping the US government? Now that should be national interest waiver, right? So what if I don't have a job right now, but in the future, I want to conduct research and I want to become a postdoc or even a faculty member doing research in, let's say, cancer or autoimmune diseases. Now that could qualify for a national interest waiver. Okay. Now these examples that I'm giving are mixed. Some of them are from your academia where you are doing research academically. Some of them are from industry like the IBM job. So it's not required that you've got to have an IBM, an academic job. You can actually get NIWs as entrepreneurs, as artists, as athletes, as sports people, all kinds of different fields. However, these two examples I have, one is a junior geotechnical engineer who's working in Canada, and I have another one, interestingly, who is also a geotechnical engineer, but he's got a master's degree and he's in USA. For both these folks, the answer is the same. What would you do which would be in the national interest of the United States? So right now we are doing a case for an engineer, and we've done a bunch of them before. One of them was for a lead engineer who had done many government buildings, state government buildings in different states. So we were able to get that approved. Okay, so there are two components: one, national impact, and two, is there something special about you? So what I call it qualifications plus, that I can do something which a lot of other people cannot. It's not the same thing as an EB-1A, where I have to be the top 5 to 10% qualified people. This is more about what you can do rather than how good you are. Sometimes it's a combination of being in the right place at the right time. Now, one thing that I want to point out, just because there are few people in that field that you can get here doesn't mean you're automatically qualified for an NIW. Okay? So the questions I was asked, how can I prepare my profile? Well, get a job or get a, people can even make a business proposal, especially if you have raised fundings, etc., where you'll be doing something which has a national level impact. Okay? Star 5, if you have a follow-up question on what I just discussed, no new questions, follow up on what I just talked about, star 5, okay? Area code 774, which is Massachusetts. Massachusetts, go ahead, please. I can hear you.
Yeah, so when you explain about NIW, it can also be in teaching, right? I prefer, in India, I used to do tutoring.
Yeah.
From 8th grade itself, and even during my bachelor's. After coming here, I did my master's and then work. But if I still, if I'm interested to go along with my tech job, if I want to be into tutoring, or will that help me in future to build my profile more stronger? And
yeah. So
it can be in a school or it can be in a university, anything, math, science especially,
okay,
right? We know.
Okay.
Our base in India is more.
All right, ma'am, let me get a word in. So there have been a string of denials for teachers. All the cases that were denied were because of one simple reason. So you are teaching in that school, you are helping those students. How are you helping the country? You are teaching in that university, those students are getting helped. How are you helping the country? We won a case where this gentleman was not even a professor. He was a lab instructor, but he taught design thinking in action. We were able to show that he had taught 600 students from, I don't remember, I think it was over 20 states. So that case was approved without an RFE. Now, was it a fluke, or was this government accepting that, yes, sometimes even though you're teaching in one college or one university, you could have a wide impact? Maybe. So just being a teacher may not be enough. You have to have a wider impact. Okay.
So if it's in a non-profit organization, does that not even make you more safe? Tutoring in any non-profit organization.
Still the same.
Money also, I guess.
Yeah, ma'am, still the same problem. What is the national impact? So you can try to make a case. Maybe you can convince the government, but I think it's unlikely. Okay? You're welcome. Let's go on to, I wonder if I have any other frequently asked questions marked. I do not. Okay. Let's go to the normal questions. Once I've answered those, then we can go into the new questions. So this is question number 3. transitioning from H1 cap-exempt to H-4 EAD, ensuring seamless employment without interruptions. I don't know of any way of having seamless transfer, because it's so difficult to predict when will they approve the H4, when will they approve the EAD, what will be the timing. You could end up getting an H4 approval. Now you cannot work on H1, but your EAD is still not in hand. So things can get staggered anywhere. I cannot really tell you that you can avoid the gap. You can try to minimize it, but there is no way anybody can devise a strategy that would 100% avoid an interruption. Star 5, if you have a follow-up question, press star 5. Okay. Question number 4, H4 visa stamping for a spouse based on unstamped I-797. So basically, I got my H-1B approval. My spouse is in her country, let's say India. Can she get a visa stamp even though I don't have one? And the answer is yes. Government has routinely given those, but government can also insist. Consulate can say, you go get your visa stamping first. Once you get H-1B, then we'll give her the H-4 visa. If that happens, you could always go to a neighboring country. I was looking at the times today. So some countries, neighboring countries, the times are more. The shortest time was in Costa Rica, which was about 6 calendar days, which means if you make an appointment today, you can go next week for visa stamping. So you can go to any country. Star 5. If you have a follow-up question on what I just talked about, press star 5. Okay. Next question, question number 5. H-1B employment gaps, extended unpaid leave, H-4 visa interview concerns, smooth port of entry, H-1B transfer, and green card. Currently working as a software developer at a small firm. Got picked up in lottery. H-1B approved. H-1B started October 23. You switched to part-time employment while you were on STEM OPT, and this arrangement continued until December 23. And the employer made you take unpaid leave. I was unaware that my W-2 had to match my LCA. Well, yes and no. First of all, the employer cannot ask you to take a leave. That's illegal. If you reported the employer to the Wage and Hour Division of the U.S. Department of Labor, you can Google it. The Wage and Hour Division will make the employer give you your back wages. You can ask for leave, but they can't make you ask for leave. Okay? So if for whatever reason you had to take leave, for example, you were preparing for an exam and you wanted to take 2 months off, that's perfectly okay. And if your salary is less than 12 months salary should be, that's okay, because the employer was accommodating you. But the employer cannot ask you to take a leave. That's illegal. They have to pay you. Then they approved your long-term leave. Then there's a lack of work. 1 to tip 2, my employer is not terminating me on my job and is willing to provide a supporting letter for my port of entry. That's absolute nonsense. Don't get involved with this. Just transfer your H-1B to somebody else if you can, because what this employer is doing appears to be a complete violation of the law. How long can I stay outside USA on unpaid leave? Well, first of all, I told you this leave is illegal because the employer is making you take it. So at the port of entry, they will almost certainly create a problem. Irregular pay in 23, same problem. H-4 interview, since I'm on unpaid leave, my employer is willing to provide a letter explaining my leave and the reason for my travel back to my home country. Look, there is no explanation that is legally sufficient. I cannot think of anything that will allow an employer not to pay you. Please don't give any false documentation, any made up excuses. Because if you get caught in a lie, you can be barred forever from coming to the United States. If on the other hand, you just transferred your H-1B to somebody else this year or next year, you should be all right. So my suggestion is don't get involved with all that. Press star 5. If you have a follow-up question, press star 5. Okay. Oh, there is a follow-up question from area code 480. That's Arizona. Yeah, Arizona, go ahead. I can hear you.
Yeah, so I had a similar situation like just discussed, but then my employer suggested me to change to a B2 visa rather than doing anything. So I switched to a B2, but then he told within the time period I can get another job and switch back to H-1B. But then after that, I have changed my visa. I got no response from them. Can I still change back to H-1B, or can I transfer to a different visa like F1 CPT or something?
Absolutely. But let's just look at one thing really quickly. You did work on H-1B for a while, right?
So mine got picked up on December 30th of 2023, and on the 1st of 2024, the company with whom I was contracted to work, they decided to end all contract positions. So I just lost immediately, and from January to February, on Feb end last week, I applied for a B2 visa, and it got approved like last month.
So you gave me the history, but you didn't answer my question. Very simple question. Have you worked on H-1B at all?
Yes. Yeah, I have. It's approved, and I have my H-1B. Yes.
Have you worked using your H-1B?
I have worked.
Okay.
Yes.
So if you have, you can very easily, even while you are on B2, start looking for a job and do a B2H conversion. No problem.
Yeah, but I have been trying to find a job and switch out, but many of the companies, they don't want to do the paperwork for the transfer from a B2 to a H-1B, and on top of that, my employer filed before for an LCA, a much higher LCA than what is the expected thing. So if the LCA goes down now, will I still be able to eligibility apply for H-1B or not?
Okay, this question makes absolutely no sense because I have no idea what you mean. You said the employer I applied for an LCA that was higher. Now it goes down. I don't know what you're saying. So let me ask the question again. Hold on. Let me ask the question. You said you have worked on H-1B, right? How long did you work on H-1B?
Yes. 4 months.
Very good. For those 4 months, did you get the salary that was indicated on the LCA and the I-129?
Yes.
That's all that is needed. So you were maintaining proper status. Then you converted to B2 because they asked you to do so, and that's perfectly okay for you to do. So now converting back to H-1B should not be a problem.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So just one more follow-up question, if you don't mind.
Not at all. Go ahead.
So I haven't still found an employer or a job. So I'm trying to convert for an F1 CPT. Would that be valid?
Well, government doesn't like CPT, but what do I care whether they like it or not? As long as it is legal, and you are doing it not just to get work authorization, but while this weird period is going, you're looking for a job. Of course, having a work authorization is great, but if you're also enhancing your qualifications, I don't think anybody can say you are misusing the student visa.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'll give you an example, and I give this example all the time. Let's say my first degree is in management information systems. And then because I want to get work authorization, I start another degree in history. Is that okay? Absolutely not. Why? 2 reasons. One, it's difficult to justify history as a part of my career progression unless you want to change careers. And 2, if you get CPT in a history major, you cannot work in technology. You have to work in history. You see my point?
Yes, true.
Enhance
the exact same.
Yeah, enhance your qualifications, and I don't think that's a problem. Government may not like it, they may create issues for you, but they can't keep you out of the United States just because you took CPT. Okay?
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Actually, I'm also in the same situation that you have just mentioned. I did my master's in computer engineering. Now I'm trying to do it in project management. So it's so that
I
I can
think
switch to the technology management side like the project.
that's kind of related. The only thing is, just make sure, discuss with your DSO that if you are going to work on your CPT, which you will be, that the work that you do does not offend your major.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Good
Yeah,
luck.
sure. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Good luck. These are tough times, guys. Hang in there. I know how difficult it is. Rahul, F1 and F2 visa option for spouses, masters and B1, B2. I got my F1 approved. Joining the university for MS in project management. This sounds like your case, the gentleman I was talking to. She's also planning for her master's. Didn't receive any I-20 so far. 2 questions. She visited to USA on B2 and changed status from B2 to F1. I don't like that. I always find that option very tricky because government can say, hey, you are committing fraud on us. You are telling us that you are only coming for a short visit on a tourist visa, but then you convert to F1. I try to avoid that. Now I have a valid F1, so she should go for F2 after a couple of months, change her status from F2 to F1. Yeah, I think that one is probably okay. That one is not as bad as the B2 option because even when she comes on F2, she's obviously coming for a long duration. Should she apply for F1 visa from India? I think F2 is an okay option. If her F1 gets approved, she will have B1 beta visa active, or does it get expired after F1 approval? So technically, the government should cancel existing visas before considering a new visa, but as a practical matter, they usually don't. So in that case, if her F1 gets approved and B1, B2 is not cancelled, she could technically enter on either one of those visas. Okay, very good. Planning for me. Yeah, I understand the situation. Star 5. If you have a follow-up question, press star 5, please. Okay, I think this is the last question. No, we have 2 more questions because I already answered the frequently asked question. Question number 8 is, no, I just did that, I think. Oh, no, I did not. So let's do this one. Number 8. F1 and F2 visa options for spouses master's program, timing, status change and visa interview. I'm married in 24, currently on STEM OPT. Wife applied for master's in US. Wait for her to proceed with F1, go ahead with F2 and change the status to F1 later. I prefer waiting for F1. She might also visa slot availability. Irrespective of the type of visa, she doesn't plan to fly before Jan 25. So my question is, if I apply for F2 right now, there is possibility for getting admit in 2 cases. Once before F2 visa interview, second after F2 is in. Oh, I don't understand this question at all. In first case, can she simply apply for an F1? What? Okay, so she's not going to be able to keep both F1 and F2 active. I can't think of any circumstances under which if she has an F2, they will consider her F1 without cancelling the F2. They could cancel the F2. So if she's getting an F2, let her arrive on F2 and start looking for schools, etc. So I probably would do that rather than getting an F2 then getting an F1. To me, that sounds pretty cumbersome. And the government may not like it because if they consider an F1, they might first cancel an F2. Can she then apply for an F2 again if the F1 is denied? Sure. But whatever time that takes, it takes. Star 5. If you have a follow-up question, press star 5. All right. Last question. Income opportunities H-1B to H-4 EAD and H-1B concurrent employment for short-term rental arbitrage business. I'm an H-1B visa holder with approved I-140. Husband is on H-1B, not started PERM yet. I come from a tech background, master's in management here in the US. My husband did master's in computer science. We are looking for additional sources of income, legal ways. We are most interested in the short-term rental arbitrage business. You work with the landlord to rent their place, then put it for short, medium-term lease, etc., etc. So H-4 EAD is the only way you could do it. There is no other visa, H-1B, etc., that can help you do it. How easy is it to move from H-1B to H-4B? It's not difficult. It's a rather straightforward process. But there's no guarantee when the H-1B gets up, when the H-4 gets approved, when the EAD gets approved, they could be staggered. And if you convert to H-4, the remaining H-1B 3 years will be banked. Yes, you can use it later. If I do a concurrent H-1B, I don't think you can do this arbitrage business. I can't think of any way you can do that. Sorry. Star 5. If you have a follow-up question, press star 5. Otherwise, we'll start with the new questions. Anyone has any question, press star 5. Anyone has any question, press star 5 on your phone. So far, I have only 2 people, 3 now. Once again, if you have a follow-up question, sorry, I shouldn't have said. Anyone who has any question, press star 5. Anyone who has any question, press star 5. Okay, 4 people so far. All right. In the order that you logged in, first one is 510, California. Let me find you. 510, go ahead, I can hear you.
Hello, sir. Here is my situation. So, I have 2 I-140s approved with my previous employer.
Okay.
Right? And my recent company had I also had a recent company. I also have the approved I-140, but the company had a mass layoff. So I still couldn't secure, even after the separation date, I still couldn't secure a job.
Okay.
Based on the current situation. So I'm looking for my options at the moment. I'm at the grace period of another 1 month left. It's going to be end somewhere in August 10th, 2024. So I'm looking at the current circumstances. I'm unsure of when I will find a job. So what are my options at this stage? Is the compelling circumstantial visa? I have 2 kids, one in US, 10-year and 1-year-old. Is the circumstantial visa is a way to go, or should I convert to B1, B2? I don't know what will be the process if I find an employer.
So,
I will disclose it, yeah.
Here are the pros and cons of a compelling circumstances EAD. The pros are that you get work authorization and you can work part-time, full-time, multiple jobs, no problem. Okay. The bad thing is, number 1, there's no guarantee you'll get an approval. Number 2, we don't know how long it'll take. 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, 8 months, 10 months. We don't know. And there's no premium processing. Number 3, if you convert to compelling circumstances EAD, you only get it from a year-to-year basis. So you have to apply every year. Next, you can't travel on compelling circumstances EAD. Next, if you try to convert back to H-1B from compelling circumstances, you have to go get visa stamping before you can start working. You understand all these things?
Okay. Traveling is okay, and visa stamping is only the concern. What if I secure even before the compelling visa get approved and I secure
you'll have to go outside.
Secure a job.
You'll have to go outside for visa stamping.
I think.
Okay.
But my current visa 797 is valid until
Yeah, that's not a visa. That's not
but
a
again,
visa.
like
That's not a visa. That's an
that's not a visa.
That's an approval. So that doesn't mean anything anymore.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Can I ask like one more follow-up question here? Like,
Yeah. Sure.
so if I go for a B1, B2 visa or a F1 visa, if I disclose my employer, like for the future employer, saying that, okay, based on this current situation, I have to move to one of these two alternatives, whether to go on a F1 or a B1, B2 visa. So, like, what will be the process for them? Is it like it's going to be like a very not a straightforward process for them to convert me back to the H1? Like, I'm just wondering, like, what if the employer doesn't like that?
Yeah,
Path
that's
and
not something we can plan for. There are plenty of employers who have absolutely no idea what they are doing. Unfortunately, that's the state of the affairs. I actually wrote an article on this last month that converting from H1 to B and B back to H1B is a straightforward process, and even USCIS recommends it. So I don't see why employers are having trouble with it. But I can't control other people. All I can tell you is that the process is straightforward. Employers may not be straightforward. Okay?
got it.
So, anything else?
One last question.
Okay.
So I when I started my career, I used to do the consulting job, and I have reached out to that consultancy and asking like if I can do the H1 transfer. They are willing to do it, but like I need to secure a job. Like the ones how it happens. Like since the grace period is only left for 1 month. Is the only the receipt that they received is considered, and in the meantime, like before it approves, my duty is to secure a job, either a contracting or a full time, and kind of run the payroll based on it. Will that be the viable situation, or the F1?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question, ma'am. As long as you do it legally, do it by the book, that's perfectly fine. But I don't know what exactly the plans here are. Because no employer should be able to file an H-1B without a specific project in hand. Okay?
Got it. Okay.
Good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Next one is Virginia. Virginia, go ahead. I can hear you. Virginia.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
My mother-in-law came to States on a family-based green card in 1994, and she went back and abandoned her green card.
Okay.
And she has been coming to U.S. on a visitor visa now.
All right.
And my wife is a U.S. citizen, and she wants to reapply for her green card. So can she use her prior green card, which has expired in 2004?
No. That green card is gone. This will be a new green card.
Okay, so for the new green card, she doesn't have. We don't know like what kind of documents she submitted for her birth certificate, because she is born prior to the partition in Pakistan. So she doesn't have her birth certificate. So in lieu of absence of birth certificate, can we use her? She still has her expired green card. So can she use her notarized copy of the green card in lieu of birth certificate?
Probably not. But you know that she can file a Freedom of Information Act request and get a copy of her green card file.
Can we do it now? She's in India, so we are planning to bring her on visitor visa.
Yeah,
and
I
apply
don't.
For I-30.
I think it's all done online. She should be able to do it while still in India.
Okay. So just a follow-up question. So won't it the fact like if we because we want to apply when she's here on a visitor visa after 90 days, so we don't want to make it in intent. Like she's planning to
look. I think that's a very bad idea. When somebody starts from India with the intention to convert to green card and do it after 90 days, that still doesn't absolve them if the government wants to make an issue of it. On the other hand, if somebody enters the US with no intention of changing status or adjusting status, and then they end up doing it, that's okay. So coming in with that intention is a bad idea in my opinion. Okay?
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. California, area code 323. Go ahead, please.
Hi, thank you for taking my call.
Of course.
So my question is around, can you hear me?
I can. Go ahead. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so my
Go
question is my question is around H-1B filing and my service employment history.
Okay.
So for some context, I recently stopped working for an old employer on 5/24, on May 24, and started working for a new one on 5/28,
Okay.
28th of May.
Okay.
And this new employer, I got picked in the H-1B lottery through them, and they also filed my H-1B in June last month.
Okay.
And the only thing that I'm facing right now is I'm still in the process of updating my service with, my new employer and the fact that I've left my old employer because I'm still on STEM OPT as of now.
Okay.
So my service still doesn't reflect that, I'm with the new employer and I've left my old employer. So I'm just wondering, will that cause issues with my H-1B case?
Well,
It was
why does it not
filed last
reflect?
month.
Hold on. Why does it not reflect? Have you talked to your DSO?
Yeah. So I've reported that I've joined a new employer,
Okay.
and so that is in process. I had to submit a form, and they're still in the process.
Yeah,
of updating
I don't think your H-1B will be denied for that, but you might get an RFE, which is okay.
Okay. Yeah,
Alright.
that might. So an RFE would just be like, because they would request documents that they
Yeah.
don't have.
Yeah, they might request, although I don't think they will, but they might. And that's okay, because by the time they get around to sending you the RFE and you getting the RFE response ready, you should have the service situation stated out. Right?
Right.
So
Okay.
you should be okay.
Yeah.
All right?
And yeah, the other question I guess was just that I know that there's an expected 10-day deadline to report things to DSO.
Yes.
But there's no hard deadline, right?
No, that is a hard deadline. That is a hard deadline. It's not something you can just sit on and forget about. You have to do it within 10 days of changes.
Okay, for me right now it's been more than 10 days.
Yeah, so I don't know the answer to
I've
that.
asked my
Look,
DSO.
hold on. You asked me about the deadline.
Oh, okay.
The deadline is the deadline. It is not a recommended deadline. Number one. Number two, what is the worst case scenario? They might ask you to go outside for visa stamping before you can start working. Or just go to a neighboring country, get a visa stamp and come back. Not the end of the world. Should be all right. Okay?
Okay, all right.
Good luck.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Let's go to Virginia. 540. Go ahead, Virginia.
Hi. I recently graduated with a master's in mechanical engineering, which is basically a STEM program.
Right.
So my I-20 ended on the 2nd of March.
Okay.
I requested a start date of 25th April.
Okay.
But however, the USCIS did not process in time.
Okay.
So my actual start date now is 17th June.
Okay.
However, the end of my EAD date, so I got the end as 2nd May. So basically, I didn't get for a whole year.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that is probably because the 2nd May is 2 months from my end of I-20 date. So that is why that happened.
Well,
But
look,
the
I don't
question
know.
I had was,
Hold on. I don't really know what exactly they did and did not do and why they did that. Just open a service ticket and talk to the USCIS. Doesn't hurt. Okay.
Okay.
And if you feel that they're not,
Okay. Yeah, because
let me finish. If they are not able to, if they are not able to correct it, you can always file a case with the USCIS Ombudsman's office. So Ombudsman is the watchdog over the USCIS. Okay? Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so my question was, I have another friend of mine who basically graduated along with me, and exact same thing happened, but he got an whole year.
Yeah.
So like he got his EAD started on 11th June,
Right.
and he like his the end date of his EAD is 10th June of the next year.
Yeah, that's how it
So
should
I
be.
did notice that.
Yeah, that's how it should be. But USCIS
Yeah.
is extremely inconsistent in EAD approval dates.
Right.
Okay.
So basically, the only thing that I noticed is that in his I-20 there is an additional block that says that his reduced course load was approved till the 2nd of May. But in my case, that was not there for some reason. I'm not sure why.
Well, he may have.
I was wondering if that was.
No, it has nothing to
Yeah.
do. It has nothing to do with the approval, because reduced course load
Okay.
simply means that when he was in his that particular semester, he needed to take fewer classes. It could be because it was the last semester, and let's say he had only 7 credits remaining. Although that should not be. There should be no need to ask permission. But I don't know why that checkbox is marked. You can ask him if he was taking less than required courses in the last couple of semesters. That might be the explanation. But if he was taking, let's say he had finished, if he's supposed to take 32 credits and he had taken 27 and only 5 were remaining, that's not a reduced course load. That's just the course load remaining. So I don't know exactly why that was marked. You can ask him what the details are, but I don't think that's the reason. Okay.
Yeah, because actually both of us, we did a reduced course load basically. Like we both were in thesis programs. So we just for the last semester we both just took 1 credit to defend our thesis. But like in his I-20 it is marked, and in my I-20 it was not marked.
Yeah.
So that is probably a mistake that the international cell of my college, they did a mistake, I think. But I was wondering if that if that is the reason why USCIS gave him an extended EAD.
I don't think so.
Okay, so the best course of action for me would be to raise a ticket in the service portal.
Not service. Service. USCIS service. Okay. You call their customer service and say, I have a problem. Yeah. All right.
Okay. So just a follow-up question to that.
Yeah.
So I have my EAD card right now. So that will not affect any job that I'm currently, or I'll take up the one that I'll take up in the near future, right? I mean,
let's
because
just.
if I raise a ticket and they say, okay,
look. First of all, try to see what they can do. And if they say you have to return this old EAD and then we'll issue a new EAD, obviously that's not something you can do. Okay? That's just too much hassle. But find out if they can just send you a new EAD and then you can return the old EAD. I don't think they will do that. I don't know what exactly they will do. I don't see these situations very often being corrected. People just suck it up and live with it. But I don't know what the answer is. So at least find out what they can do, and then you can decide whether you want to go forward with it or not.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Good luck. Oh, okay. There's somebody else who has a question. I think it's a repeat. Yeah. 510, go ahead. I can hear you.
Yes. So, the other question I had is, how soon I can apply for B1, B2, or how later I can apply? Because, as I said, I only have the grace period left until August 10th.
What I tell people, most of the cases, we want to leave room for error. Okay? So, I think it's reasonable if you're applying online, maybe apply 55th day, 4 or 5 days remaining on the grace period. If you are doing it by mail, maybe 50th, give it 10 days. So that's my recommendation. There's no particular rule on this. Okay?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Last question of the day, Texas. Go ahead. Texas.
Hi, sir. How are you?
Good, sir. How are you?
Yeah. So my question is, I will currently apply for STEM OPT extension with USCIS with my current employer.
All right.
But my current employer has recently told me within the last 2 days that I will be laid off in next 1 or 2 weeks.
Okay.
So to save my unemployment days, I tried to find a consultancy, and the consultancy told me that they are willing to provide me with the I-983 for my I-20. But my question is, what will happen to the 180-day grace period that I have with my current employer? And the second question is, the new consultancy is willing to provide me with the payslip without any salary. So they are willing to
that's called
show it on
that's
paper
called
that-
fraud, and people go to prison for it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that answers your question.
Okay, so, but there are some clause in the USCIS rules that you can provide with the compensation, like housing or transportation. It may not be the only monetary way you can compensate.
No,
your
it's called
student.
it's called the alternate compensation rule, and it applies only if they are giving the same to other workers also. So,
Okay, but they are a consultancy.
sir, let me tell you
So
this.
they may
Let me
have other
let me
students like
let me
me.
tell you this. The moment you said they are willing to generate pay slips without paying you, that tells me it is fraud. Do not go near this company if you value your future. Choice is yours. I'm not going to argue with you. You do what you want to do. You're an adult, but in my opinion, that is the dumbest thing anybody can do, because they are getting involved with the fraud.
Okay, sure.
Okay?
Thank
I
you.
have seen people's futures, careers destroyed because of this little mistake. Don't do that.
Okay, so about my first question, what about if I not go for this employer, if I go for another employer, what will happen to the 180-day grace period that I have with my current employer?
No, 180 days not with any particular employer. It belongs to you. It's not 180 days. I don't know where you're getting the 180 days. It's what is it? 60 plus 90, na? 150 hota hai, na?
But that's for unemployment days. There is some clause that I can work with the current employer as because I have not got my
So
EAD, EAD card.
Yeah. You are talking about when you timely apply for STEM OPT extension, you can continue working for up to 180 days, right? That's one you're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah, check with your DSO. I have never really considered the question. I apply and then I change. Can I still continue working? My guess, don't take my word for it, my guess would be yes, you can. Okay, that you can continue working with another employer during that 180-day period. But please double check with your DSO. I think what they will tell you is that they need to update the service. Because, and also one more thing, remember, if you are changing employers, you have to upload the new employer information to the pending EAD also. Otherwise, your STEM OPT will be denied.
Yeah, so I will have to get the new I-983, I will have to get new I-20, and I will have to update USCIS with my new I-20.
Right.
And a letter stating that why I have applied given new I-20.
So you got that part covered, and that makes a lot of sense. But can you continue working? I think so. Double check with your DSO. Okay?
Okay, sure. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Please don't get involved with that company that's willing to do this nonsense for you. Okay?
Okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's better to go home rather than get involved with this fraud.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, folks, that calls the end of the questions today. I'll see you again next Thursday on LinkedIn. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.